time to get real. I want to see some crazy Wiz Biz.
What's the magic made out of, Ding Dong?
I want to see some of that Wiz Biz.
This castle is in unacceptable condition! Unacceptable! Mathematical! Bacon pancake!
Welcome back to the world-famous Wiz Biz podcast with Alexx and Erik. My name is Reverend Erik, and across from me is Alexx.
Yes, I'm not a reverend, but my name is Alexx. That is correct.
This podcast is all about Adventure Time, or ostensibly all about Adventure Time, though we don't always stay on topic very well. And in this episode, we are covering two episodes of Adventure Time, Season 1, Episode 11, Wizard, and Season 1, Episode 12, Evicted. I'm excited about both of these episodes, Alexx. They're two, I think, of my favorites in Season 1, although there are like 50-some episodes in Season 1, so it's hard to really pick favorites, but...
Is there really that many?
I don't know. I just made up a number.
Oh, well, you know, you're a host of a Adventure Time podcast. I was trusting you
so
to
I'm
have...
supposed to know these things. Shit.
I mean,
my guess
technically-
is there'd be 52, right? 2 times 26? I don't know why 26. I just pulled that number out of my butt.
yeah, I don't remember. I think there is only like 26, though.
26 episodes?
Yeah, or somewhere around there.
So are we close to the end of Season 1?
We're close to the halfway point.
I'm so confused.
Well, if there's 26 and we're on 12...
Right. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, see, math works by using math.
That sounds like the sort of thing Jake would say.
So what you do is you math the math, and then at the end you get some math.
Who wants some free magic powers?
I do. Erik, I mean, I think we only can start this episode in one way. You ever wonder what a demon heart looks like?
You ever wonder what one tasted like?
Yeah. Hey, kid, you want some magic powers? Free magic powers?
God, so the episode starts with this, and then, of course, there's this amazing, like, hell door that when they come out the other side, it's made of butts. Yeah, I love this episode. You know, Bufo is one of the main characters in this episode. And Bufo is this collection of like weird tadpoles that pilot around a giant toad man and are a wizard, sort of a collective wizard.
Yes. Do you know? Fun fact: his last name.
Bufo is the last name?
Yeah.
What is it?
Bufo these nuts in your mouth.
Oh.
Hi, I'm from the internet. Yeah, so Bufo, so the creature that I guess houses Bufo answers the door when Finn and Jake arrive, and it's like, are you Bufo? No, I'm not Bufo. Can we talk to Bufo? And his head kind of inverts, and then this poly creature.
His neck sack or something bulges out transparently. Yeah, Bufo's a great character design, like so crazy. And speaking of character design, one of the character designers for Adventure Time is Phil Rinda, from which Phil Face comes. The Phil Face is the face that gets drawn on the wall during the...
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
And
really?
Phil Face makes an appearance in this episode. I believe one of the old wizards or something has Phil Face.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I didn't pick up on that.
Phil Face kind of shows up throughout the series, and I believe this is the second appearance of Phil Face.
So Phil Face, give the audience a better explanation of what that means.
Okay, so the Phil Face is like this is like Phil the name, like Philip.
Yeah.
It's just this sort of like dorky looking smiley face with like nerdy glasses and sort of like stubbly beard hairs. And it shows up sort of like on different characters, usually like background characters throughout the show. But it's a reference to Phil Rinda. Like it's supposedly a character of Phil Rinda, and Phil Rinda is one of the character designers for Adventure Time.
Now, is that the face that we were drawing on our ritual? Was that the...
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about Phil Face more when it becomes part of the plot.
Yeah, but for old-time listeners, and we've referenced that in the show before, the Alex cast an Arnemancy Halloween special where we tried to summon a cartoon demon.
Yeah.
The Phil face was
Was a very important part of that.
yeah, it was an important part of that. So yeah, we get inside the magical tower and we are introduced to how they're going to learn stuff. And level 1, Dustomancy.
Dustomancy.
And what you have to do in order to learn Dustomancy is eat these brooms.
Oh God, it's the grossest thing they have to do, honestly. Like everything else is pretty easy compared to eating a broom.
And I do like the Jake style of he just grows big, throws it in his mouth. It's like, just do this, Finn. And yeah, that's
Just do what I do.
Yeah, and then Finn just has to just sit there eating a broom, which actually I kind of was like picturing too much. It was just like, oh God, that'd be brutal.
Oh, so many splinters. So many like and the shits that you get from that.
Ugh,
God, broom shits? Nobody wants broom shits. Although I suppose maybe one of the spells he learns at some point is digestomancy.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely come in handy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no denying that. Yeah. Okay. So then, so that's the first kind of one, and then we kind of start fast forwarding through levels. But the next level is you have to thrust your hand into this bowl of eyeballs.
Which are yeah.
And so, question for you, Eric: are you upset that this show revealed what the initiation was to the 33rd degree of Freemasonry? Because I've heard
Wait,
that that's
hold on.
exactly
I didn't know what the 33rd. I'm not 33rd degree. I don't know what the 33rd.
Oh,
degree
what are you,
initiation is.
32nd?
Did you just ruin the 33rd for me?
Okay, I meant 32nd. I meant
man.
whatever the top one is.
Time to do a bunch of whippets until
Wait,
I forget.
what are you?
I'm 32nd degree.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 33rd's like a kind
It's
of...
like a special honorary.
Yeah, that's like
there is a ceremony for it. I just
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just thought that'd be funny that like all your years of like hard study of like in masonry, and then at the end it's a Halloween trick of just put your hand in this bowl of eyeballs.
Yeah. That would be delightful. Yeah, I guess another thing about this episode that I was sort of that I really liked is at the end, or near the end, when Finn has to take the pledge of ultimate responsibility, sort of the way that it's sort of framed, like you have all of these ultimate powers and now you must take the pledge of ultimate responsibility. And I was kind of thinking, like, was that a Spider-Man reference? With great power comes great responsibility. With ultimate power comes ultimate responsibility.
I'm going to say it is, just because that's more fun of an answer.
Okay,
but,
good.
Yeah, I do love the fact that so when they're like, hey, you have to take the pledge of ultimate responsibility. He's like, wow, I've never seen someone so like wantonly and without thought take a pledge of ultimate responsibility.
So irresponsibly responsible. Yeah, and so then when Finn takes the pledge and ends up learning what the ultimate responsibility is, that wizard room that he's suspended in, it has a bunch of like astrological glyphs and sigils on the walls behind him, which I thought was kind of interesting.
And the reveal is that there's been a meteor heading towards the wizard temple for the past 847 years, or some number close to that. Mm-hmm. And the way to stop it is to suspend ascended wizards and shoot their power at some, I don't know,
it's some
diamond
sort of
thing.
Yeah, and it keeps the asteroid from advancing.
Yes, which, interesting technique. And Finn's like, yeah, fuck this. He declares youth culture forever because those old guys are fine with it, which I think is great. There's a beautiful joke here where he breaks out and he like stands off against the meteor and he goes, ultimate wizardry activate! And nothing happens. You're like, oh, maybe my footing's off. And then he tries it again, and it works perfectly, which I think is such a beautiful Adventure Time joke of like that. There's the natural expectation is, of course, your powers aren't going to work.
Yeah,
he's going to try new footing. Of course, your powers are going to work. But in this show, no, they totally work. Yeah, that was the solution. I think it's a beautiful little joke.
But then also when he's activating the powers, he's like naming them, and he names like a few of them, like Vorpal Hand, Beauteous Wing, all this kind of stuff, Tiger Face. Yeah. And then at the end, he's like, and all of the powers I didn't name. Like, did you need to name the other ones? Are they special?
Yeah. So he gets his ultimate wizardry going, but it's not enough to save the village. And the old wizards that before were so content to just shoot their wizard power at the meteor forever decide to help. And they're like, oh, God, you finally came to your senses, decide to help. It's like, no, we're just trying to save the temple where we live. So we thought this would be a good idea.
No, they wanted to run away.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, no, we're out of here. Finn was like, well, how about you help me before you run away?
Oh, is that the deal?
Yeah.
I watched it a while ago.
That was like 20 minutes
ago.
ago.
I was being facetious. They don't know that.
Yeah, when I came in and you were like, "Oh wait, I gotta watch these episodes," and then you just played on your phone the whole time.
Well, no, I wasn't playing on my phone. I was taking notes.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. Of
I
course.
was. I'm
sure.
reading-
No, I'm sure that's what happened.
I'm
Totally.
reading them right now.
Totally.
In fact, I will quote, "Hey, naked kid, want some free demon heart?"
Full circle.
Yeah, but to be fair, that was probably in that note before I watched the episode because I frequently reference naked kids eating demon hearts.
Oh yeah. I've seen your artwork.
Well, I'm a member of the DNC, so it's, that's what we do. That's how I get my adrenochrome.
Right, Pizzagate.
Yes. So that's how they save the place. I like how Bufo at the end. He's like, "Oh man, I'm just such a failure. Won't do anything. This is terrible." And Ben's like, "Man, no, that's fine. Just don't take other people's ideas, and then you're cool." And it's like, "Oh, I guess I will do that. I'm so glad I had that idea." Good joke.
So, what do you think are what are the lessons of this episode? What were we supposed to learn?
I mean, read the fine print.
I guess that's a good one. I think Bufo's an asshole. That's a pretty good lesson.
Yeah, Bufo's a jerk. Maybe if you're in Bufo's shoes, ask advice, because I think if you have the ability to like trick people into like replacing elderly wizards, stopping the meteor, maybe you could trick, some giants or something to move your city for you. Or,
I think
punch the meteor on its way down.
Maybe there's something there about like just because you have ultimate power doesn't mean that you're wise enough to know how to use it.
Yeah, I mean that's probably like a real answer. Yeah.
Well, I thought that maybe a real answer would be refreshing.
No, it was good. I appreciated it. I didn't come up with it, but I really think the main takeaway is you could have just probably asked the Gumball Guardians to like come over and like.
Oh sure, yeah, they
catch
could have
the
just
meteor.
Yeah. It's interesting, the idea of a thing from space coming and threatening ooh is a recurring theme, and this particular. I think they called it an asteroid in the episode, but that asteroid is not the big thematic comet, the cosmic comet, which comes by in later seasons.
No, this is just I think they called it a meteor and an asteroid because it's weird when they called it an asteroid later.
Oh, did they? Maybe they used both.
Yeah. Yeah, because it got the cosmic comet, which is the herald of the, changing of the Yuga cycles.
Right. And there's like Org and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's much later in the series.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ooh has bad luck then when it comes to celestial bodies running into it.
Yeah. Well, they have, when you see the outline of Ooh, I think there's like a chunk taken out of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's got to be from the mushroom ore, though, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, the idea, we'll talk about it, years from now, but the idea is that, this is a much like the Hindu concept of like the Yuga cycles, is that the world kind of refreshes itself each time the cosmic comet goes by, either by the mushroom or the comet actually impacting. Mm-hmm. And there's these incarnations of some version of Finn and Jake in each of them.
Right. And the elementals are important.
Yeah. So I think, this might, I don't know, maybe this is where, the little tiny germination of a seed came from.
Oh, maybe.
I don't
know. I mean, it's hard to believe that we've come to this already. Did we zoom through that discussion? I feel like it's already time for our first segment.
I think we should be on the first segment. I think the problem with episodes that are so good like that, it's kind of, I don't know, they stand for themselves. It's just kind of like,
it's hard to add anything. I think like in the next episode, I think that there's a ton of sort of like fun ththings to mention that are sort of like, oh, look how the story developed. Oh, look at like what's going on here. But yeah, these really good episodes, like you really just have to watch them.
Yeah.
And I guess there's just not a ton in Wizard that reverberates throughout the whole show. Like Bufo's a recurring character, so he shows up over and over again, but he never has a major role again. He's always kind of a background character, I believe.
Yeah, I don't even remember him showing up again. I don't doubt you.
He shows up in like I don't remember if he's in the wizard battle, but he shows up in like the wizard city, and he shows up in some other things where there's like a ton of wizards where there's some like background wizard characters.
Yeah.
But I don't think he ever has a major role.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Let's do our first segment.
Okay, what's our first segment?
Okay, so first segment.
Shiny Rock.
Shiny Rock. Hey, look at this shiny rock I found.
Okay.
I have a random list of words and things I've run into, and I thought I would share them with you. That list is running very low. I need to refresh it. So,
Ooh, so we get a boring shiny rock?
no, I still have a few good ones.
Okay.
I realized that like I need to get back in there and put my nose to the word grindstone.
When your list starts to get low, do you pick the worst shiny rock or the best shiny rock?
I'm gonna pick the best one. This is the first time it's gotten low. I don't know. I'm not sure about this. So,
How did it get low? I feel like we've only done a couple episodes.
well, this is episode 6, I think.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a fair amount of words.
All right.
All right, so the word for today is jamais vu.
Je ne vu.
Jamais vu.
Jamais vu.
Jamais vu.
I mean, it sounds to me like it's in a foreign language, perhaps Russian?
No,
Yeah, it's French.
it is French.
What does it mean?
Well, it's the opposite of déjà vu.
It's the feeling that this has never happened before?
Somewhat. It's finding a subjectively unfamiliar something that we know to be familiar. So, like, you know something as familiar, but you find it unfamiliar.
Like,
I don't know, like a bottle of beer. You could be like, I don't really recognize it as a bottle of beer. Like, it's just,
But-
yeah. Like, in that, like, deja vu is like kind
Uh-huh.
of the feeling of like familiarity when it's not there. Like, it's almost like this has happened before. It's almost like, so if deja vu is the feeling of this has happened before when it hasn't happened before, jamais vu is almost like the feeling that this hasn't happened before when you know it's happened before.
oh, weird.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Have you ever had the feeling?
No, but I just found the phrase kind of interesting.
I think what about like mild face blindness? Like, I meet somebody, I know I've met them before, but I'm like, I just don't remember what the hell this guy ever looked like.
Yeah.
Would that be sort of similar?
You're asking too deep of a question. All I really know is that.
I feel like you should make up an answer.
Yes, that is part of that.
That is it.
Okay, well,
Okay.
here's. I'm going to give you another one then. 'Cause
Okay,
that,
okay.
I feel like that kind of fell flat.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I'd heard that word before.
Hey, there you go. Very nice. Do you know what a milver is?
A milver.
Yeah, one of the few words that rhymes with silver.
Okay, hold on. A milver. Let me think about this. I feel like it's going to be some sort of medieval trade. Like a milver is somebody who, like, I don't know, knits handkerchiefs or repairs millstones or something of that nature.
I mean, you're very not close at all.
Oh,
A milver, well, like you would be a milver.
I would
for
be a
me.
milver.
Yes, because a milver is a person with whom one shares a strong interest in a particular topic, especially that of words and wordplay.
oh shit. So,
Yeah.
so we're milvers.
Yeah.
It's funny, I have a friend who moved to North Carolina, and we text each other frequently, but we almost always just text each other about our Wordle scores. So does that make us milvers? I guess so.
I
huh?
believe so. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that means that like Wordle has probably increased the number of milvers in the world.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
Wordle is a milver mover.
Yes, between Wordle and Words with Friends and Online Scrabble, I believe there's many
we've
more
had-
milvers in the world.
Yeah, the pandemic in particular caused a huge explosion in milvers.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the best thing about milver, it's somewhat useful word, but
Uh-huh.
it's a word that rhymes with silver, which there is very few of those.
I'll give you 30 pieces of silver if you'll be my milver.
Exactly.
There we
Yeah.
go.
I think that's directly from the Bible.
I feel like, that's totally what happened at
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah, so, audience at home, if you ever hear that thing of like, oh, there's no words that rhyme with silver, orange, or what's the other one?
Porcupine.
Purple.
Wait, there's no words that rhyme with purple?
Well, there are, but that's a commonly held phrase. Is nothing. There's no words that rhyme with purple. They're like archaic, weird ones. Like herple is one. Herple is the I think it's like walk with like kind of like a funky limp kind of. I think almost like maybe like a cowboy kind of gait is our
Is the herple the sort of walk that doesn't attract the worm?
I would actually, I would think maybe the herple would not attract the worm. Yes, herple feet got no rhythm.
Herple feet got no rhythm. Is
Yes.
that the actual name of a song?
Well, no, it's that. What's that? I was thinking of
I'm writing it down.
George Michael or Wham. That I'm never gonna dance again. Herple feet have got no rhythm.
Is that what he says? I hope so.
No, he says guilty feet.
Oh.
Okay, so that was our first little segment.
Okay.
Between two Milvers and a bit of Je me vu.
Oh, and also, like, I totally, I feel like in addition to us being Milvers, I know that I'm a total herple on the dance floor.
Yeah, I could see you herpling around.
Yeah, I totally herple.
I feel like I don't dance.
That just might mean that you herple by default.
It's more just sit there. Yeah. That's the thing that I want to learn in my adult life. Is I want to learn how to be comfortable dancing. That's going to be it's on my list.
I don't know how to do that except to just try.
Yeah, I don't find myself in situations where it comes up. Also, everybody I know doesn't like dancing as well, so it's not like I have anybody I can practice with.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean, I'll do it if dancing is like super called for, but I don't like seek it out.
Yeah. Speaking of a transition to the next thing,
Ooh.
Evicted.
Episode 12, Evicted. Now, I feel like our many adoring listeners have been waiting for this episode. I know I was, because this is the introduction of possibly one of, if not the greatest Adventure Time character aside from BMO.
It goes BMO and Marceline in my book.
Same here. I feel I ship them. Beam Celine, Marcelo.
Marcello.
Marcello.
That's where Jefferson lived.
Wait, Marcelmo.
And Marceline plays with BMO in this
Yes,
episode.
yes,
So,
which is perfect. That's all we need. That's all we need for our headcanon to be fully realized.
So,
yes.
All right. The episode starts off, and this is an important factor in this one, of Jake telling Finn a scary vampire story.
Mm-hmm.
In which the vampire is mean and whatever, and could have lived in this very house.
Yes, and
it turns out there was a vampire in that very house.
not just any vampire.
But yeah, Marceline, the vampire queen.
Right.
The queen of all vampires. But
Yeah.
What's interesting, though, is that Jake claims to have made that up, and I think he believes it.
Mm-hmm.
So-
Because he totally gets freaked out later, when the wind blows the window open.
Yeah.
He screams and falls down on the ground, and he's like, oh, no, I wasn't scared. I was just singing my screaming song.
Well, I believe that. I think that was
Yeah,
just a
sure,
screaming song. Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, I think he does kind of believe it. I think maybe he knew about Marceline ahead of time.
You think?
Well, I mean, Marceline's 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
Marceline, when we learn Marceline's backstory later on, like much later on in the series, she's got to be a legend. I mean, she killed every other vampire on the planet.
Yeah.
Like, she's the last vampire. She killed the vampire king. She killed all the vampire nobility and stole all their powers and sucked their souls out and stuff. Like, she's not just the vampire queen. She's like half human, half demon, Nightosphere demon
Yeah.
vampire.
Yeah, she's badass. You gotta
is.
love her.
And she can play the bass.
Yes. Also, this episode features the closed captioning, warbling ominously.
Warbling ominously, which I hope ends up being the title of this episode.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna name it that, assuming I remember.
So Marceline gets introduced in this episode, and she is, I feel like she's a very interesting character and has a lot of interesting development, because when she is introduced, it's made very clear that she is terrifying and deadly in a way that like nothing else has been presented as so far. Like even the Ice King, one of the most powerful creatures on Ooo, is never sort of portrayed as something deadly and terrifying, you know?
Yeah, she's the first, at least the first, like, kind of human-like, deadly, horrible thing. Mm-hmm. And though in her first introduction, she does, like, Finn freaks out saying, oh, you're going to suck my blood. And she's like, yeah, I could do that, but, I mostly just, I eat shades of red.
Yes.
And it's introduced that she's actually more of a color vampire.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting take.
And a flirt. Like, she
Yes.
flirts mercilessly with Finn, and Finn spends, like, half the episode blushing.
Yeah. Also, well, I mean, we don't find that out till, like, much later, but, first canonically, at least bi character in the show.
Uh-huh. Yeah, for sure.
Because we also find out later that she had an ex-boyfriend.
Oh, yeah. That dude was a dick.
Yeah. Trevor or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember. He gets a whole episode, though.
Yeah, that's true. And that's but we'll get to that when we get to that. So yeah, she kind of brags about how she's been all around Ooo, and now she's happy to be back home. Mm-hmm. She makes reference to riding a school of like mutant goldfish.
Yeah, we get a short shot of her being in the sunlight,
Yeah,
which I think is the only one we get.
Yeah, which goes back to our previous discussions of like, how much did Pendleton Ward have lined up and, how much of the world did he have figured out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously he didn't have the Marceline mythology fully formed or he wouldn't have allowed a shot of her in the blazing daylight sun.
I think this episode is also the first time we see the worm people.
Yeah.
And one of them shows up right at the beginning, and then we get sort of a bigger shot of him at the end. We also get like our first mention of the Fire Kingdom, which ends up being pretty important later on. And Tree Trunks shows up.
Problematically, too, because Tree Trunks is still supposed to be in the Crystal Apple parallel universe kingdom. Yeah,
I'm not sure what's up with that. I wonder if this episode aired out of order. Or something. Or I don't know. Or maybe they just didn't care that much about continuity in season 1.
Maybe they did air it out of order. She is a pretty major character and like immediately becomes a major character.
And she's in the intro sequence.
Yeah, so I wonder if they were going to do all of the major character episodes in a row and then decided to push this one back to try to buff up the kind of later half of the season.
Yeah.
Kind of mid-season finale almost.
That could be. I'm sure that this is something that the internet could answer for us. But
yes.
I did not look that part up.
Yeah. So she shows Finn some nuts, and they turn into like dancing sprite creatures straight out of Miyazaki, which is great. And Finn says, "Oh, you're wonderful."
Oh yeah, he totally digs Marceline at first.
And then she pretty much immediately boots them because turns out that she's carved an M in the treehouse many years ago and has claimed her stake to the place.
And as we go throughout the episode, it turns out she's done this more than once. She just like carves her initials in places, and then she's like, "This is mine now." It's this is definitely Ooh needs property lawyers for sure. I feel like Ooh needs some sort of regulatory board that controls ownership.
Yeah, I mean, probably going to get those Brian Posehn businessmen from earlier episode.
Those would be perfect for that sort of thing. Although I also believe they would probably just try to take over all the property rights.
And so this episode is also probably one of the kind of early most musical ones. Of we get the "Oh Marceline, why are you so mean" sequence.
Do you know who sang that?
A human being.
Pendleton Ward.
Really?
Yes, that was Pendleton Ward singing the "Oh Marceline" song. I think it's also called the House Hunting song.
Oh, okay.
And then also, Marceline's voice actress, Olivia Olson, is an incredible singer and does all of Marceline's songs also. Dear listener, if you want a treat, go look up her stuff on YouTube. Yeah. She's delightful to listen to. Heavenly voice, wonderful sense of humor, great singer.
Yeah, and she did a duet with her cartoon father at some point, Hudson Abbott, which is a fun one. So Marceline, Why You So Mean, great song. It's a bop. We love it. Mm-hmm. And then Jake sings an absolutely terrible song about where home is, where she's like, "Home is wherever you will find yourself feeling loved." And just playing like off-key viola.
That's totally Jake in the style of Tom Waits.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote down. I was like, is Jake singing like Tom Waits?
Yeah.
That's in my notes. And then Finn follows up with a pretty half-hearted rap that isn't very good too. But, by the end of the episode, it becomes apparent that Marceline is just playing around with them.
Well, let me stop you there, because there is a question about that.
Yeah?
I mean, I think it's apparent by the end of the episode, but at one point, Marceline does make an earnest effort at sucking Jake's blood.
Does she? Because it turns out Jake just moved all of his guts and organs into his thumb.
But did she know that?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think she would have killed Jake?
I don't know. I mean, it feels like that's what was the intention. Or maybe she knows how to stop sucking blood at a certain point that it doesn't kill the person she's feasting upon.
Yeah, maybe she was just going for a nibble.
Yeah.
I mean, she obviously didn't get any blood out of him and then discards him. So that's a good question.
We also see her turn into like a giant demonic bat thing, which appears later in the show. Yeah,
that's definitely a recurring thing too. She can shapeshift and get huge and scary, and she's terrifyingly powerful.
Yeah, and in her bat form, you can see the Hudson Abbott influence on her.
For sure. Yeah. But I mean, she bats Finn around and spanks him and stuff, and in the end just sort of gives him a kiss. Like it was obvious that she was roughhousing a little too rough.
Yeah.
And Finn didn't realize it. Finn put his all into trying to stop Marceline, and she just sort of laughed it off.
So they find a new home in their in a cave, which Marceline. So they have a big party, and then Marceline crashes the party and takes the cave back. And she's like, "Oh no, you can keep the treehouse as a gift from me," which is like just a fucking power move.
Oh, totally. Yeah, and just the thought that like Marceline is forever Finn and Jake's like landlord is pretty awful.
Oh yeah. Finn and Jake triumphantly return to the treehouse, saying, "Oh yay, we're back!" And then
when they get there,
the worm people are there,
and the king worm,
the king worm, this giant psychic worm,
comes down,
and then takes over their mind, and he's like, "Come here, friends, hug me."
Do you know that's the one? This is something that I've been waiting to tell you about. The king worm is voiced by Erik Estrada from Chips.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
What, that was Erik Estrada?
Yes, from Chips.
How the hell did that happen?
Well, he probably rode his motorcycle to the studio.
Wow. I don't know what to do with that, but that's really interesting.
I have seen every episode of Chips.
Really?
Yes.
I've seen an upwards of one, but I'm very familiar with the show.
Well, it's a masterpiece. It's the best TV show to feature motorcycle cops as the main characters.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I was hoping there'd be a hilarious example of one failing. Even better than Cop Rock, which I'm assuming had a motorcycle cop in it.
Yeah, I was really delighted to see that. I'm really glad. I remember. I don't know if it was the last episode or the episode before, where we were sort of pondering, like, should we see who these guest actors are? Like, who are the voice actors for these?
Yeah.
Like, so this time I actually looked, and I was like, holy shit, Erik Estrada. And I didn't believe my eyes. I was like the Erik Estrada? And sure enough, it's him.
Yeah, weird casting. We'll do this out of order a little bit.
Okay.
Because I have a question for you about Marceline.
Okay.
And I've asked you this before, and I forgot the answer, or maybe you didn't know. Later, much, much, much later in the show, we get Marceline's backstory. That she was there during the Great Mushroom War, or just shortly after, with her mom. And her mom took care of her for a while, and then other things happened. I don't want to give too much away. How is she half demon?
Her mom must have bumped uglies with Hunts and Abadir.
See, that's weird that we don't... I'm not saying we get to see the copulation scene. It's weird that that's just thrown away that she's half demon, but like, she just looked like a kind of a regular little girl.
No, she looked weird. She was purple and had like pointy ears.
But, yeah, okay, I mean...
And this is in an age when everybody's still human.
Oh, I think that's what was messing me up, because that looks like pretty normal for the land of Ooh, but I guess it's technically like still like Earth back then.
Yeah, and remember in the vampire storyline, there's a huge problem with her. Like, the humans won't allow her to hang out with them.
Yeah.
For a long time, because she looks different.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So we just basically never got the story of how her mom and Hunts and Abadir met.
I think Hunts and Abadir probably came to Ooh, or Earth as it was back then, in human form and seduced her.
But what's interesting too there is, so that means the Nightosphere existed when Earth was still Earth?
The Nightosphere always exists.
Huh.
That's where bananas come from.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. I thought bananas only came from like calypso music.
Oh.
Oh no, that's the telling thereof.
Yes.
My mistake. Completely.
Okay. So you had more questions.
No, that was really it. I was a little unclear as to her half vampire, half human nature, and
well, she's half demon, half human.
Oh yeah, sorry, half demon, half human. That's what I meant to say. I think I guess I forgot that during those backgrounds, yeah, she does look a little weird, but she looks very weird for being Earth still. Mm-hmm. It was, I think, the thing that was stumbling me, because like she just looks like a little girl in Ooh. If it was just Ooh, which is like, oh, that's just like what she looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess. So, man, maybe we get like one of those In Distant Land things that they do on HBO Max. Maybe we'll find out the back. Because I want to know how the hell fucking Hunts and Abadir went up there and he fell in love with her mom, or
I doubt it was love.
Does he get horny?
I think there's some dialogue or something that talks about it at some point.
Yeah.
I just can't think of
Mm.
it right now. Yeah, we'll just have to keep our ears peeled.
Yeah.
Watch out for that. Maybe one of our listeners knows.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, you should get in touch with us. We're at Wiz Biz Podcast on Twitter and on Instagram. And that's it. And Instagram, just go to Twitter.
Yeah. And you know what? Our Twitter needs followers. So please
Yes.
follow us on Twitter. I promise it will be amusing.
Yes, there is plenty of Wiz Biz content to be had there. You can also stop by our sponsors, which we don't have any, and we don't have a Patreon, so you're welcome for not having to sit through that.
Oh, yeah.
That is our gift to you.
But we do want you to subscribe to the podcast.
Yeah.
And follow us on Twitter and follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, rate and review. If there's places you can rate and review, that'd be great.
I would say at this point, if you're going to do one thing, if you're listening to this, just subscribe.
Yes.
Yeah, that's our CTA, our call to action.
Okay, our call to action, please subscribe to the show if you're listening to this without having subscribed on your podcatcher of choice.
Yes, we are available on everything from, iTunes. Wait, it's not iTunes. Apple Podcast to Spotify to all the junk in between. Sketcher and Stitcher and...
Sketcher, I believe, is a brand of
Snitcher,
casual shoe.
Smacker, Spanker, all of those. We're available everywhere.
Echo Box. I just
Echo
made that one up, but
Box.
it sounds like there'd be some stupid shit like that. Yeah.
Pod Monkey.
Eric, I have two things I would like to request of you.
Okay.
In no particular order, but I think you know what order you're going to go in. Could you show and tell me something?
Shit. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, put that away. No, that's not what I meant. God, Eric, we're platonic. Jesus Christ. I mean, it's nice and all. I'm impressed, but...
You know what? I used to hate the fact that we aren't making a video podcast, but now I wish we were.
Take that as you will. So you have something to share with the class.
Yeah, I'm going to start off with the tell.
Okay.
Not the show. Just to, mix things up.
Cool.
So as you know, I just went on a month-long journey across the country on the choo-choo train. And one of my stops was Minneapolis. And in Minneapolis, I stayed with my friend Nick Chappell, who is a famous internet occultist who is probably best known for writing the kind of like first scholarly piece about the Kabbalion not being hermetic.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Fun guy. He was a great host. And one of the things he did is he took me to Magus Books, which is sort of a famous kind of like a cult shop in Minneapolis. And when I was at Magus Books, I was like, well, shit, I'm at Magus Books. I need to buy a tarot deck.
Yeah.
So I did. I bought the Egyptian tarot. There are a lot of decks called the Egyptian tarot. This one oh God, I'm going to have to... Oh yeah, another thing that's happened, I've gotten to the age where I can't read small print with my glasses on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's not cool.
I know. I'm getting there too. I'm reaching the last time I went to the ophthalmologist, they're like, well, you don't need them yet, but you're getting there. That just get like number one reader glasses if you're going to struggle with reading small stuff. Which
I'm fine without my glasses on. I can read small stuff.
Oh, really? Oh, lucky.
So this is a La Scarabeo tarot deck. If you haven't seen it, La Scarabeo, they make pretty good decks, but they make tons and tons and tons of them. So there's not always like a lot of huge creativity involved. And then the artwork on this deck is by Silvana Alasia. So I'd been wanting an Egyptian-style tarot deck for a long time, primarily because my friend Jay Swafford, the guy who made the Picatrix Decans deck and the Moonlit Hermit tarot, he has this incredible and unfortunately out-of-print and very rare Egyptian tarot deck that is just filled with weird occult symbolism and great stuff like that. This deck isn't quite as exciting. I think it's actually still in order, so you can take some of them and look at it. Like you can see.
So I'm looking at the Fool right now. And we got some other languages. We got El Loco, El Mato, Le Fou, Dernar, and Di Dewas.
Yeah, that's sort of really typical for La Scarabeo decks. They usually have like 6 different languages on the card to sort of, show you.
So I'm looking at some of the trumps here, and the Empress, der Herrscherin.
Yeah, they kind of all look like papyrus paintings.
Yeah, it's done in very kind of bright, vivid Egyptian style, with a lot of hieroglyphs in the background, and it looks like there's some astrological stuff going on. There might be some Jewish lettering at the bottom right, I'm not sure about that.
I don't know what that is.
Oh no! Now, as I'm going through, those are a couple of them look like Jewish letters.
Yeah,
but then,
I agree. That's
somewhat-
a good question.
yeah.
So, I haven't spent very much time with this deck. I don't know if the hieroglyphs are accurate or taken
Yeah.
for anything. I honestly don't know a whole lot about it. Just thought I'd bring it in and show it off. I definitely still have to spend some time with it. So it has kind of like cool artwork for the trumps, but of course, like most La Scarabeo decks, it just has pretty standard stuff for the pips.
Oh, okay.
So it'll just be, like the wands are all shepherds, crooks. Let's see, the swords are like Egyptian daggers. The chalices are cups. There's no, and let's see, and the pentacles are weird-looking Egyptian coins. So there's a little bit of additional art and stuff, but it's not the most exciting deck that I've showed off.
Well, all right. So let's do a little comparison here.
Okay, what do you have? Do you have an Egyptian deck?
I have an Egyptian tarot deck from my shelf here. And
Where's yours from?
Let's find out. Mine is. Hold on, I want to make sure I've got the cards in. I had some cards fall out in a weird order. I want to make sure they're all facing the right way because I hate when that happens. Okay, and that's just a card protector. So mine is the Egyptian Tarot, complete with original instruction books by Comte Saint-Germain. Hey.
Whoa! Wait, what?
Yeah, Comte Saint-Germain.
Oh, the Comte de Saint-Germain.
Yeah, forward by Stuart R. Kaplan.
Uh-huh.
And this is
Is that U.S. Games then?
copyright 1980 by U.S. Games.
Oh.
Box printed in USA. So mine are very different. They're not in order, but like, for instance, this is the card number 37, the Master of the Cup.
Oh.
And then card number, what's XL?
40.
The Slave of the Cup. So
Weird.
they're you're better at tarot than me. You can look through these and see what your thoughts are. So they're not in order because I did try to read with them years ago. My brother found that deck, and they are inscrutable because they're so familiar to the tarot, but they're off a bit.
This is cool. I really like this. Actually, yeah, they're definitely different.
Yeah, like the front of it, card number 4 is the cubic stone, and they're all done in kind of yellow sepia background with, just it almost looks like what kind of ink would you call that?
It's a brown ink for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are cool. These are really cool. I think this might be better than mine. It's still not the same one that Jay Swafford has, which is
Oh, really?
which is kind of unbeatable. Like I said, there's so many Egyptian tarot decks
Yeah.
out there.
So,
But yeah, I would say after looking at the two of these, I think the U.S. games. So one thing about the U.S. games is it's all it's monochrome. So it's just brown ink on sort of like a tan papyrus-ish background. So if you are after full color tarot decks, you'll probably want something else. But it looks pretty interesting.
well, so this is, okay, I'm just going to read off real quick. So in the front, this is the table of the 22 major arcanes. Mm-hmm. Number 1, so it goes the Magus, the Gate of the Sanctuary, Iris Urania, the Cubic Stone, the Master of the Arcanes, the Two Ways, the Chariot of Osiris, the Balance and the Sword, the Veiled Lamp, the Sphinx, the Tamed Lion, the Sacrifice, the Reaping Skeleton, the Two Urns, Typhon, the Thunderstruck Tower, familiar, the Star of the Magi, the Twilight, the Dazzling Light, the Rising of the Dead, the Crown of the Magi, and the Crocodile.
That's amazing.
So that's the 22, and then the minor arcana are kind of related but have different wording underneath and stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
that's way cooler than this.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to one up. I just
No, it's cool.
You had the Egyptian deck. I'm like, oh, I have one here too, and I remember it being super difficult to read with because it's this baffling array of new words and.
I would say for anybody listening, if you're looking for an Egyptian tarot deck if you can find the U.S. Games Egyptian Tarot deck, it looks more exciting than the Los Scarabeo.
Yeah, I mean, I think this deck might be kind of old because it says copyright 1980, and the box felt old when it opened it. So I don't know, who knows how hard they are to find, but
it's hard to know. U.S. Games stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how U.S. Games decides to keep things in print. I guess it depends how popular it is.
Yeah, I mean, this feels kind of 1980-y if I'm holding the book and whatever.
Yeah, sort of like Dungeons and Dragons first edition.
Yeah. Yeah, so interesting little tarot decks there. All right, so yeah, that has been Wiz Biz for episodes 11 and 12 of the show, and like episode 6-ish for us. I don't know.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It must be 6 or 7.
Yeah, we've taken a break since Eric took a month off to go on his train journey, so I'm like, I don't know what episode we're on. But yeah. Either way, what we said before, rate, review, subscribe, follow us, do the things, and, if ever you know somebody that you think would be into occultism and Adventure Time, the spoken word is powerful. Just recommend us to some people.
Yes, chant the ancient words. Send your friends to us.
Exactly. Well, we will see you next time.
Adios.
Bye.
Goodbye, Gunter.